Welcome. This is the candidate focus meeting for spring 2024 for the Chino Valley Teacher Induction Program. This is the link if you want to get a copy of the slide deck or the QR code to help you be able to have this for your own information. It will also be posted in Google Classroom under the candidate focus meeting for this inquiry cycle. During this meeting, the teachers worked on reflections, reflecting on what they did last year or this past school year and thinking about where they want to go next year. We looked at the end of the spring inquiry, kind of went over the post co-assessment. We went over university credits, and then end of the year nuts and bolts, talking about the transition from year 1 to year 2, and then credential recommendations for year 2 people or the early completion option people. Reflections. We don't always take time for reflecting in education. We don't have time, we're too busy. And one of the beauty or one of the blessings of being in an induction program is that there's dedicated time for you to work on goals and then also taking the time to reflect on those goals. So what we wanted to do today was take a little bit of time to think about what we've done this year, how it impacted students, and where we're going next year with it. During the in-person meetings, the candidates who were there had an end of the year conversation with one of their colleagues. It was a standing meeting and it was 3 minutes of talking on each person's side. And they talked about and shared what their overarching SMART goal was, what were some things that they had learned, what were some struggles, and then how do you feel, or how did they feel that their goal on participation in induction impacted their students' learning? And we talked about that being always the bottom line. The bottom line is how much is what the students learn a reflection of what you are doing in the classroom. After that conversation, they all sat down, went back and sat down, and they reflected on it, and we wanted them to share their reflections on this Padlet. We are going to ask you to do that yourself. Be sure to include your name on your response, as that is how we are confirming that you watched this video, and it will be marked as meeting your spring focus meeting requirement in section 4.7 of your Google Classroom. When you click on this or use the QR code, it will take you to this Padlet, and these are the questions that were being asked. What were some bright spots of the school year? If you could go back to the start of the year, what's one thing you would have done differently? And also, based on what you've learned this year, what's one thing you want to do differently next year? So what I'm going to ask you to do is to scroll forwards and backwards on this and look and see if you notice some themes. There are places where you can like what you saw, you can add to it. If you add to it, that would be fine, but what we are asking you to do for attendance purposes is to make at least one new comment here, and please be sure to put your name on it. It doesn't automatically show up. So please put your name on it so that we know that you contributed to this, and that is how we will mark your attendance. One of the things I want you to think about is the one thing you want to do differently next year. What is one thing you want to do differently after all these reflections? That's important that you think about it now. And I really would like you to take the time to write it down somewhere. If you have a calendar, a journal, a tickler file, your notes on your phone, if you've already started planning for next year, just even a Post-it that you stick in your laptop. What is one thing you want to do differently next year? And write it down. Because I promise you, you will not remember in August because you are going to be so busy and overwhelmed. And it will hit you like in October that, oh, I wanted to try this or I wanted to try that. And if you can start it off at the very beginning of the year and blend it into your planning and your daily routines, it will probably make your day go a little bit easier. Okay, so reflecting big picture on the whole year, now we're coming back down to more of a closer focus on this past inquiry cycle. Induction participation officially will be met. Your requirements for this year will be met when the school year ends. However, we should be able to wrap up by May 1st. Hopefully you and your mentor are winding down and starting to wrap things up. Please continue to check in with your mentor either until the program requirements for this year are met, all the tasks, or until mid-May if you've already completed everything, until it's time for our colloquium, okay? One thing I really want you to do is to make sure that if you are year one, you make arrangements to meet with your mentor in the following year. Some of you work side by side, some of you work on different school sites. So it's important to make arrangements for communication. And also thank your mentor for everything he or she has done for you this year. If you are, I don't want to say graduating, if you're finishing up your second year or your early completion, and you're going to be done with induction, I want you to make sure you also take the time to thank your mentor, okay? That's really, really important, okay? So the end of the year requirements for year one and year two, they're going to be in section 5 of your Google Classroom. The early completion people who are in year one, there's going to be a little section for you that says early completion option candidates only, and it gives you the credential recommendation and end of the year stuff there for you. Okay, most of them are pretty much the same, but there are a couple little differences. Also, I wanted to talk to you about your end of the year post co-assessment with the mentor. You've done all the pre-co-assessments with your mentor, and at the end of the year there's a end of the year post co-assessment where you are going to go back and you're going to reflect on all 6 of the pre-co-assessments that you've done. If you look at this example, you will see that the yellow was one that was done in October, and the orange is one that was done in April. So you see the evidence down at the bottom, and then you see where it was marked on the continuum. So what I want you to think about is I'm suggesting, this is actually the way we ask that it be done, but I know it isn't always happen this way, is to look at the prompt, okay? And then under evidence, record any new practices that you've been doing. Look at what you did in the fall or whenever you did your first pre-co-assessment, and then think about things that you are doing now that you weren't doing then. So those would be new practices. And then once you have done that, then go back up to the continuum and see where it would fall, highlight it and date it. I don't necessarily expect everyone to be over and integrating and innovating, but we want to see that you can show some growth. You'd almost have to be in a paper bag, in a closet, in the dark, to not have grown at all this year. You just naturally are going to grow. But where have you grown specifically in this area? Okay? And this is a way of documenting that. It's really cool for us who look at it to see the growth, and it's memorialized on this continuum. So what can also be more helpful or most helpful for us as readers is if you take each one of these that you've done and cut and paste them into one document so that we can scroll all the way through and see all of them. It just goes much more quickly when we're able to do that than opening and closing, opening and closing. Okay, so that's the end of the year post co-assessment that you do with your mentor. This is where you're going to record it on your ILP, or your mentor will do it. So you have your pre-co-assessment, and the post is down at the very bottom of the right-hand corner. Okay, and then you can put the date and you can put all your new levels right there where you're at. if you, excuse me, if you are a year one candidate, you are going to do a final reflection, and all those prompts I've given you earlier today are things to kind of warm you up for this final flip reflection. So what I'm going to ask you to do is go to this link, and it is posted in Google Classroom, and you will go to the Flip platform, used to be called Flipgrid, and there will be questions posted there for you to respond to, and that is for year one. Year two people I will see in person and have a conversation with them. And let's see. And this is right here for the end, year two people and the early completion option people. So what I wanted to say is at the end of year one, going back to the previous slide, year one candidates reflect on a Flipgrid or Flip video. This time you'll meet with the coordinator one-on-one via Zoom for a 10-minute conversation about your experience in the program. It's kind of an exit interview. We're not doing this at the colloquium, we're just doing this now one-on-one with the coordinator. So please think ahead about sharing your goals and experiences. And if you have any questions you wish to express, that'll be a time to share that with me, okay? So overall, I meet with people one-to-one 4 times over the course of the year. Once, or the course of the program. Once when you enter, I meet with you one-on-one. Mid-year, your first year, I meet with you one-on-one. At the end of the year one, you do a flip video. At the beginning of year two, you'll have a video that tells you about how to get started. But then I will meet with you in the middle of the year two, because I meet with everybody, and then at the end. So overall, you have 4 opportunities to meet with me one-on-one. You have 6 opportunities during the focus meetings, and then you meet weekly with your mentor. And all those hours are considered hours of support for you for your induction program. Okay, so the steps for you right now, if you are year 2 or an early completion option person, is to check in your Google Classroom in the section 5 and sign up for a time to meet with the coordinator. When you click on this link, it will take you to, where does it take you to? It takes you to a scheduling app that lets you schedule a time to meet with me. And then it shows you times that are available and that we can meet in May. Okay, and then it automatically puts them on your calendar. So I don't have to send you an invite for that meeting. Okay, it automatically does it. This link is in your Google Classroom. Okay. That brings us to university credits. Through agreements with 3 universities, we are pleased to be able to offer the purchase of units for successful completion of our induction program. So you can get successful completion of year 1, you can get units, successful completion of year 2, you can also get units. The application for units and additional fees, we don't pay for that, okay, are made directly to the university. Once you've done that, units and transcripts, once you've done that, then they will send you transcripts that you will submit to our Human Resources Department for salary advancement. Transcripts are made available after the transportability completion document is reviewed by the university. So at the end of the year, I will send you a transportability document, which is also called a completion letter. And you will upload that to the university's website, and then they will review it, and then and you pay your money, and they'll review it, and they'll send you a transcript saying that you've earned those units through your work that has been done in the induction program. The 3 universities we work with are UMass Global, Whittier, and University of the Pacific. And what you're going to notice here is that Whittier gives 6 units for each year, and the others only give 3. And that is based on how they reviewed our syllabus that we submitted to them in order to have this agreement that we're doing here. You will know, or maybe you don't know, University credits are usually based 15 seat hours for one university credit. We have about 50 hours in the program. So that would be 45, 50 divided by 15 is 3 point something. So that's why UMass Global and University of the Pacific only give you 3. Whittier compares the syllabus in our program to what would be required in their actual class that's the equivalent of what you do in induction. So that's where they came up with the 6 units. ECO, you will earn fewer units because you are only doing this for 1 year, okay? And that makes sense. If you have any other questions about this, you can contact me or you can contact the university. I think Whittier will be at our colloquium, so they'll have time to talk as well. Grand Canyon University and Cal Baptist, I think, will be there. And I think they'll have a table, and they'll also be able to have 5 minutes at the beginning of the program for each university to talk to you about what they have to offer for you for this, okay? So keep calm. School is almost over. Transitioning from year 1 to year 2, and this is for year 1 candidates, all candidates, whether you're year 1 or year 2, will get a transportability document, which is also in our program a completion letter after all the submissions have been reviewed. And if you are remaining in the district, you'll automatically be rolled over into year 2. If you are leaving the district, you will take the transportability document or the completion letter and give it to the program director, the induction program director of your new district, for your new district. If there are any questions, or if that person questions what you did, have them give me a call, and I'll be able to answer any of their questions. They should honor it because we're all accredited programs in the state of California. If you are staying here, you will continue with the same mentor unless you request a change, which you can do by emailing me, okay? So year 2 people and early completion option people, the credential recommendation process is as follows. In your Google Classroom, you complete the Chino Valley Credential Application Form. Looks like this, okay? And you will just do this top part. The induction leadership only does below this line. We check off those things, okay? So those are the things that we do. I need your social security number and your birth date in order to be able to get into the CTC website to make your recommendation, okay? The recommendation is made to the CTC electronically. If you have TPA or any other requirements, I have to have copies of the passing scores. I have to attach that to your recommendation. If you have not taken the RECA yet or passed it, or anything else that is on your credential, and I think I should have talked to you about all those additional requirements. You should know what those are. Anyway, I have to attach those. If I made your recommendation without those, it would just bounce back, okay? So make sure I have all that information. If you did all that in your pre-service program and all you had to do was induction, then I take care of that, okay? I make the recommendation electronically to the CTC. Then the CTC automatically sends an email to you saying they have received the recommendation, and then they'll provide additional directions. And you will go to the link that's provided, you confirm the information, you complete the state survey, and you make the credential payment of $102.50. The emails that they use may or may not be a current email. So I get a copy of what they send you. They CC me on it. So what I'll do is I will send you a note saying, I'll forward that to you, to your district email. And I'll say, this was sent to whatever email you had registered with the CTC. I'll let you know that. And then also remind you that you have 90 days to go online and pay for this. If you go past the 90 days, and they'll include the date in the email, okay? If you go past those 90 days, it falls off. That's what we say, we falls off. It goes away, disappears. And then I have to make another recommendation for you, which I don't mind doing, but I need you to try to get it done the first time around, okay? That just makes it better for everybody, okay? Your credential will post on the CTC website in about 2 to 3 weeks, and the district will be automatically notified when your credential posts. And I get a copy, and then the credential techs also get a copy of that from the CTC. So you don't have to call us and let us know. We know when your credentials cleared or posted, okay? Any questions? You will have to email them to me if you do have any questions. Make sure your name is on the Padlet, okay, and that you did a response. And then you can email me when you have finished all this, and I'll go check. Thank you very much. We missed you, seeing you in person, but I'm glad you are able to take this time to get this information via this video. And the colloquium, we'll see you at the colloquium, though, on May 13th. It's Monday from 4 o'clock till 7 o'clock. Please be sure to RSVP. The link is in your Google Classroom. We are having food, and you're there with your mentors. It's just going to be a fun time to celebrate people who are year 2 and moving on and leaving, people who are year 1 and staying, and people who are year 1 and leaving, okay? Or people who are year 2 and leaving. You know, we're just here to celebrate everything. It's a time that we have all together with you and your mentors. So I hope that you'll be able to join us and let us know via the RSVP. Okay? Thank you very much. Have a good day.